Today we're going to be talking about a large firm versus a small firm, like an independent financial advisor or a wirehouse, or like, your Fidelities, your Merrills, all these different wirehouse, the large companies. There's pros and cons of each one. A lot of people, there's a perceived safety when you're with a bigger firm. I get that, right? But the truth is, 90% of all independents are also at those same firms, your Fidelities, your Schwabs. They're always at the big firms. And so if you're with a wirehouse, I'm not saying this is always the case, but they're going to have limited product lines a lot of times, right? Limited products. And they might push their proprietary products. So you'll have this amount. But if you're with an independent advisor, they can have access to most products at all the different wirehouses, and your money would and should be held at one of those biggest ones. Like our company, by the example. We hold our accounts at Schwab, the largest trustee in the world. But you have an independent advisor that doesn't have any proprietary products, not urged to sell any proprietary products. So you have the safety or the perceived safety of being at a big firm. Like those big firms have insurance up to $500 or $600 million for securities. That's pretty good. It's better than the $250 for cash and the $500 for securities you get in the SIPC. They've got an additional private insurance on top of that for $500 or $600 million. And so your money's secure, but you get the advice from an independent. And independent advisors, to me, believe it or not, there's more independent advisors than wirehouse advisors. That makes sense, right? You'd think the biggest companies got the most. No, there's actually more independents. But it is important when you're choosing an independent advisor to make sure they're a fiduciary, make sure they're a registered investment advisor, a certified financial planner. They have the credentials. But also make sure that your money is going to be held at these largest firms in the world for security reasons. So if you can have that, to me, you have the best of both worlds. No proprietary products, no limitation on products. Believe me, if there is a limitation, let's say it's a private label. I'm just going to make one up. Some bank. This is a private label mutual fund. There's a reason it's private labeled. It's not competitive in the open market. If it was competitive in the open market, they would only not go to their 10,000 advisors. They'd want to go to the 100,000 advisors, which I think Dallas has like 100,000 advisors. They'd want to bring it out there if it was competitive. So private label offerings are not good anyway. And so you have access to many more products. If you're talking about insurance companies, if you're into that, you might have all the 50, 60 different insurance companies instead of 2 or 3. With stock programs, same thing. You have access to hundreds, even thousands of different money managers, private money management, but your money is still held at those big firms. So if I have to choose, like there's nothing wrong with the corner office guy at Fidelity. It's just, some of those want $5 million just to talk to them, right? You deserve the best service regardless of how much money you got, but you also want the safety of a big firm. So that's why overall I always choose independent financial advisors, but just make sure they're qualified and they have all the credentials, and the money is always held at the biggest firms in the world, and you should be fine.